Here is one of my favorite resources that I used in researching saps and the like. This is an early 1960s Bucheimer Cataloge, and I have several old catalogs and individual pages from other catalogs, etc., but this one is my favorite. It's complete. I love the look of it. Black, white, and red, a mythologically potent combination of colors, as poet Robert Bly noted at one point in Iron John. That was a tangent. So here's the famous, well, to us, famous Bucheimer logo, so often seen stamped onto their saps. And we can see where this one here was going to, in particular, somewhere in Philadelphia, PA. Probably a police supply store. And that's what this catalog is all about, right? Equipping police. It's mostly gun leather, holsters. I love the old-fashioned order forms. As you know, if you've seen some of my other videos, I miss those things. So you have a ton of holsters and the like. The only other thing you basically have, besides other miscellaneous leather accessories, is saps and blackjacks. And this was the backbone of the industry, right? Companies that were catering to police with holsters and the like were natural candidates to make saps and blackjacks. I think I'll do a separate video and give you a view of a lot of the different holsters in case anyone's interested in that. But we're here to focus on this. So top of the page that deals with our favorite weapons is dedicated to the flat saps. And here they are, the 4 classic Bucheimer models, which were not the only models, but this was probably 90%, 99% of what they made. Midget, Junior, Denver, Texan, in order of size from smallest to largest. Texan, of course, makes sense as a name for the largest. And then the blackjacks, and the variety on these is really what I think would surprise somebody who's unfamiliar with the history of these weapons. No shortage of choice. Also notice that they're called police billies. So the language around these weapons was always sloppy. If you just read a piece of literature that said police billies from the 60s, you would assume they were talking about billy clubs. That penna there is the one that I really want. I do not have a vintage penna in my collection. And this, of course, speaks to how widely these were used. Interestingly, if you look at early 20th century police catalogs, you had a lot less choice when it came to blackjacks. So they were invented, they were semi-unofficial, if not completely unofficial, but by this point, they're openly embraced and used enough that a maker like Bucheimer produced this many options for the buyer. You can see that length doesn't vary too much regardless of model, but weight does, from 6 ounces to 15, so essentially 1 pound. The 8980 and the 7982 are the 2 outliers when it comes to length, because they're both just over 6 inches. And if you've seen my video on the vintage 8980 I own, it's just absolutely tiny. It's actually hard to imagine it doing damage until you take a practice swing. Meanwhile, you pick up a convoy, and anyone could pick one up and realize it's a serious weapon. Jumping to the very back of the catalog, not the back cover, sorry, the kind of inside back, you get the real miscellaneous section, see badge holders and stuff, and I was surprised by this. The saps make a comeback, so I guess this is in case you missed it the first time. It's an abbreviated version. It has all 4 flat saps, but a limited selection of the jacks. This thing has held up so well over time. Making this video here, the staples finally did come loose on the outer page, but anyway, here's that limited selection I was talking about, kind of the highlights. No surprise at all to see the convoy leading off the list. This might be a good window into what were the high sellers back then. I know some collectors and makers who will be interested in that information, so I'll provide a still picture of this, a close-up, at the end of the video. So that is what things looked like for a cop shopping for a flat sap or a round jack, as they were called, back in the 60s. When looking at the premier maker, no less. Like I said, I'll do another video on this catalog, I think, because I like it so much, focusing on the gun holsters. Should mention the palm sap. Didn't get a lot of love, but it was there. Even came in 2 different colors. Well, I'm just going to finish with the picture that I mentioned in providing for those interested, and that is it for now. Thanks.